Hello everyone, welcome into Fatty's Feast, where we make the best food you'll ever eat without leaving your backyard. My name is Josh, and today we are going to be attempting the hot and fast smoking method on a pork butt. Let's get started. So this is going to be a fun video. This is something I've never tried before, and I like experimenting with this hot and fast method. A few videos back, I did the hot and fast brisket cook. It was less than to be desired. I think mostly because I used a choice brisket, and Costco choice briskets are terrible. So if you want to check that out and see how that worked out for me, you can go check that out. I'll put a link here. That being said, I have in front of me another boneless pork butt from Costco. Still don't understand why they take the bones out of the pork butt or pork shoulder, whatever you want to call it, but like this is what we have, right? So if I get the camera close, look at this freaking huge thing right here. We can really experiment with these because they kind of suck. I don't care if I ruin it. I did a video also of butterflying a pork shoulder or a pork butt, and you can check that video out also right here. That came out pretty good. But the problem I had was one part was fattier than the other, so one part was really, really nice and moist, and the other part was kind of dried out. So that cut our cooking time in half with these boneless pork butts, and I really do believe the lack of the bone actually makes cooking these a little bit more difficult because you don't have that heat going into the bone that's heating up the center. And these usually take me a long time to cook. So we're gonna try doing this hot and fast, boneless, maybe ruining it, maybe not. We'll see what happens. Okay, so underneath here, I have put some butcher twine. We're gonna use that in a second. But first, what I'm gonna do is score the fat cap. You don't really need to do this. I just do it a little bit just to assist in the rendering process. So I'm just gonna come through here, do my little slits, not too deep because this is boneless and you have multiple parts, I guess you can say. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to put the knife toward you, whatever. I'll die. Okay, so just something like that, nothing crazy. Then I'm gonna go ahead, take my twine, and I really suck at tying butcher twine. Do one knot there. All I'm really trying to do here is take this and let it keep its form. And my hope with this is that the butt will actually cook up a little more evenly. Is that a fact? I don't know, but we're gonna try it. So we'll get her nice and tight, just like that. And we'll come in with our scissors and cut these guys off, just like so. Perfect. Now let's flip this bad boy over. Got some good fat on the underside here, but because we're doing this hot and fast, I'm not really cutting anything off. We're gonna come in with my good old trusty friend, yellow mustard. We'll just do a little bit, get this guy nice and lathered up. And this is gonna sound complicated, but I'm actually not being complicated today. First, I'm coming in with a mostly salt, but some pepper mixture. Basically, this mixture, I overloaded it with salt. So there was more salt than pepper, so there's a little bit of pepper in there, but I'm just gonna use it up. And we're going pretty liberal with this guy, because it's a big piece of meat, right? We can be like that. And you can see just from there, the lack of pepper on here. And next, I'm coming in with my super secret formula pork rub. You can check it out in the description. It's not that big of a secret. But this has a little bit of sugar in it, nothing too crazy because I'm concerned about burning the sugar within the smoker. So we don't want to do that. This gives actually more of like a sweet but little bit spicy flavor to these. And I've used this in videos before, so be sure to check it out if you want to make it yourself at home. Like I said, we can be liberal with this guy. We had a big boy right here. Let's hit our sides. Now, if you were cooking low and slow, I would say, you know, use sugar if you want. Like I said, this doesn't have much of it in there, so we should be all set with that, hopefully. And now let's hit the top of this guy. Now, typically I would just do a salt and pepper rub if I were doing hot and fast, but I'm trying to get rid of stuff. Why am I trying to get rid of stuff? You won't know until probably a few weeks from now. But I will keep you updated because there is a reason that I'm very excited about. And because I don't want this guy sticking with all the rub and the sugar in here, I'm gonna throw him right on this tray while we get our smoker up to temp. And there she is, ladies and gentlemen, looking freaking hot. A nice, beautifully seasoned boneless pork shoulder. I just realized I didn't use my binder on top because my mind's not there today, it's Sunday. So that being said, we're good to go. Let's get this bad boy smoked up. So I'm gonna take this guy and I'm gonna put him right here, a little bit toward the hotter area than back here where I normally put things because we're cooking them hot and fast. And let's shut her down. So as I typically do with hot and fast smokes, I place the meat on the smoker when it reaches a temperature about 250 degrees because I don't just want to sear the thing right away and ruin it because we have 6 hours to do that. So why rush it? But basically for the first 3 hours, we're just gonna cook this at a steady 325 to 350, probably more so around 325. Because there's sugar in that rub, I really want to avoid burning it. And we're probably gonna have to spritz to do that. I also put a water pan in there just in case. So everything is good to go. Let's get our temperatures bumped up. And I should note for this cook, I am using a mixture of hickory and applewood. I think I flipped those, but you get the point. Okay, so we're looking at this guy. We are an hour and a half in. Got some dark spots over here, so I'm just gonna spray that, avoid the fat. Just wanna make sure we're not burning anything. As you can see, we got great color coming along in the fat. Let's lift this guy up real quick. I just wanna see what the bottom looks like. I know the lighting's not the best, but it's a little dark, but not terrible, so we're in good shape. And let's get our internal temps. 119, 113 back here. I just wanna take back here 146. What about over here? 153. So in the middle, we're still very cold. The outsides are cooking a little bit faster. So I've been doing a pretty decent job maintaining temperatures. I've been running them a little bit on the lower side, I'd say. So really to cook that center, I'm gonna bump them up a little bit. I really wanna have a nice bark formed by the next time we check in, which is gonna be another hour and a half. So we'll go 3 hours, try to get that bark formed, and then we will probably wrap it. But I'm only gonna wrap if the bark is set and looks good. So far for an hour and a half in, I'd say that we're coming along pretty nicely, but just my main concern is the edges. I don't want to overcook those or burn them. So I'm going to keep checking on this about every half hour to 45 minutes to see if I need to spray. So I'll see you guys in about an hour and a half. We'll just keep doing what we're doing, enjoying the nice day and living life to the fullest. Okay, excuse my neighbor mowing his lawn. Sorry about that. But internal temps, we're looking pretty good. 169, very nice. Over here, it's actually feeling a little bit less firm, but it's colder, which is kind of weird. And then on the ends, we are really up there, 170. Over here, oh, this feels like butter already. So let's take a look at the underside of this guy. I'm gonna have to spray this a little bit. I've been spraying about every half hour, 45 minutes or so. Underside doesn't look too bad. Then we got the inside, unfortunately, boneless, you know how it works. Let me spray this over here, and I'm actually just gonna turn this away so we have even cooking. This fat is rendering very nicely up top here. It's feeling like butter. And I'll just spray a little on this side as well. So we were actually 4 hours in now that we just saw. I didn't bring you back within an hour and a half because there just really wasn't much going on. We were at sort of the stall point where we were just hanging out around 150, and then we finally got through that. I'm still not ready to wrap this guy, I don't think. I really want to get a little bit more of a crisp on the top. So I'm thinking maybe around the 5 hour mark, we will wrap it, and we'll just continue to really keep our temperatures up there. As far as comparing this to a normal pork butt cook, I feel like we're chugging along a little bit quicker than we normally would, but it's still taking, you know, a little bit longer. At this point, I'd like every internal temp to be around 170, and we're just not there yet with that one section. But hopefully within the next 30 minutes to an hour, we'll be there. And then at that point, when the fat's really rendered down, we'll wrap her up. Because we're cooking at higher temperatures, I do want to wrap it in the end, which is unfortunate, but we have a nice crisp on the edges. I want to protect those. And if we don't get the crisp on the top, that's okay. So I'll see you guys in about another 30 minutes to an hour. Sound good? Sounds good. Okay, so we got a great bark on this guy. We got fat that's just giving like butter right there. Look at this stuff. This is looking, oh God, that feels so good. I love that. Going around the side here, it's a little firm, but what are you gonna do, you know? The ice cream truck is literally stopped at the end of my driveway. I love that. They're trying to kill me. I know that for a fact. Still pretty firm in the middle, but we're at 177. That's to be expected. And down here, we're pretty equal, 168, 169 still. So I'm gonna take the easy way out with this guy. I'm just gonna take him and put him in this beautiful pan. I'm just gonna spray around the edges a little bit, avoiding the fat at all costs. We'll take him, move him back over here, and I'll take my foil and just wrap them up like so. Nothing crazy. And that should be pretty damn good. Let's shut her down. So notice I did nothing special there. I didn't add any sauce or honey or tallow or extra spices or anything like that. We're just gonna keep it simple. The reason I'm wrapping it in that tray and not just in foil altogether is A, I want to keep that as leftovers and just stick that whole thing in my fridge because I'm a little bit lazy, but also because I had one foil tray left and I needed to get rid of it. Why? I don't know. We're gonna figure that out eventually. One other thing I forgot to do, because I'm just not in the mood today, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put this probe right in the center, just to give me a nice gauge on where I'm at. Now, when you do pork butts, you definitely wanna have a probe in there and temp it. Obviously you're going off feel, but with pork products, it's very, very important, especially a big roast like this. It can seem great on the outside, but it's really the inside you wanna make sure is completely done. So that's just gonna be a gauge for me so I can keep track of it. And then I'll just keep it closed, let it continue its thing, and we'll take it off eventually. But I will come back and test it with my Thermapen. I also don't know if I mentioned it before, but we wrapped this at the 5-hour mark. So we're just gonna keep doing what we've been doing, keeping our temperatures high and mighty around 350, and we'll come back when we're ready to take it off. Okay, it's been just over another hour, and just on schedule we are done. Internal temp was 209 in that part, and I've been checking this about every 20 minutes or so. We got some butter here, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously internal temp is an important thing, like I said earlier, but we're at 207. That's looking pretty good. There's no real, time or temperature it's going to be done, but 209 seems to be this guy's point. Okay, even if I go over here where I haven't poked a hole, I know there's a lot of holes poked, but it feels like butter. We're good to take it off. Let's just take a look at what we have. Look at that bark. We are looking delicious, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give this guy about a 30-minute rest, and we'll give him a try. All right, so y'all saw me pull it apart, fell apart very, very easily. Things like butter. And if I just tip this up here, if I stick my finger in there, oh, do you see that? Do you see what just happened there? It just fell apart again. I don't want to pull it completely apart because we need to save some of this and we don't want it to dry out. This thing is looking pretty damn good. It's pretty damn moist. Everything looks amazing. I don't want to squeeze it too much because I just want to try this bad boy. It looks great. Even being wrapped in foil, letting it rest for, I don't know, 30 or so minutes. It looks good. So, fat rendered nicely. Let's take a piece of this. So I'm going to take a piece, first of all, of something without bark, because that's here. I did notice toward the middle, like usually happens with boneless pork butts, it tends to be a little firmer, but this doesn't look too bad. That's pretty good. I put a lot of salt on this, and the salt really stands out, but it's not overwhelming amounts of salt. This one has a little bit of fat and some bark on it. And this is actually crispy bark, so I'm concerned that it might be overcooked, but we're going to see in a second here. Not really bad at all. Just a little bit of fat I'm throwing in the sink. Here's just a piece of bark I want to try. I don't know. That's really, really good. The one thing I will say, the sugar, even though there was a lack of sugar in the rub, it might have burned a little bit. I don't think it did really. I don't notice, like, I'm not tasting that and saying like, oh God, this tastes like shit because it's burnt. This actually came out pretty freaking well. I think I prefer this over the butterfly pork method. What I showed you last time, where we took this boneless butt and butterflied it. This came out really, really good at higher temperatures and surprisingly it didn't burn. Now, I wouldn't use a high sugar rub or anything like this. If you were just using salt and pepper, you're gonna have great results with this. But if you're concerned about your pork butts taking way too long, especially if they're boneless, I think this might be the route to go. Let me just take one more hit. I sound like a crack addict. Let me take one more hit. Yeah, I could eat this all day. What is this thing? That's really good. Oh, soaked in its own fat. Oh, it's killer. Oh my God. Yes, people. So at the end of this, I will say, try this method, especially with boneless pork butts. Try it with bone in. Let me know how it turns out. I think this came out way better than a hot and fast brisket, especially a choice brisket from shitty Costco. Shitty Costco's pork butts that are boneless turn out pretty much okay. I would do this again if I had another boneless pork butt, but I'm gonna try to avoid that from now on. I just had to get rid of this one. Why am I getting rid of this one? I don't know. You're gonna have to stick around and find out eventually, maybe in the next month or two. So that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Fatty's Feast. I don't know if I actually mentioned this yet. This took 6.5 hours. Did I mention that? 6.5. So right on track. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Fatty's Feast. If you did like what you saw, please smash that like button, get this content out to more people, and leave a comment on things you want to see me make on the griddle, on the smoker, it doesn't matter, I'll do it all. Right over here, we're gonna put a video specifically designed for you, you're gonna love it, and then right over here, my smoker pork playlist, hours of entertainment for educational purposes only. There's no entertainment value in that, so if you're looking to be entertained, don't watch that. I'm just kidding, I sort of suck. Right in the middle, if you love this bald, diabetic, average bearded looking face so much, you can subscribe to see me every week. And until next time, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and